Hey there. In this particular session, we are going to talk about the feature which is one of the most powerful features of the Aqua IDE, which is the Web Inspector. Now, this Web Inspector is embedded or inbuilt inside this particular IDE. So, in usual cases, in order to inspect any elements on a page, we would go either to the Chrome Developer Tools and we'll try to use the inspector there, or we will try to load some plugins, could be in the browser or could be another tool through which you can inspect different elements, and then either even use the locators which are provided by these tools, or you can write your own locators. Now, all those scenarios have been taken care by this Aqua Inspector, which is very simple to use, and you can use it directly inside your IDE where you are writing your code, right? So let's see how this web inspector works and what all we can do with this powerful web inspector. So let's go ahead and go to our training project. And this is the sample file which we had created earlier. So what we'll do is let's try to add another class to this particular folder, and then we'll try to work with any application and try to see how we can write a script. But before that, we'll also see how we can inspect different elements and then use the locators to write our Selenium script. So I'm going to name this as the first script because this is the first script in this project we are going to write. And we are going to write a Selenium script in order to automate this particular demo application. Okay, so let's try with the login page. We'll try to enter the username, password, click on login, and then verify whether we are landing on the correct page or not. So that's the basic script which we want to write using the Aqua IDE, and we'll see how simple it is to write a Selenium script in Aqua IDE when you compare it with other IDs. Okay, so let's grab this URL since I'll be using this. And what we'll do is let's use that URL here. Okay, and I will just put it in comments so that we know which URL we are working with. Now, there are a couple of ways we can use the web inspector, right? So you can see I can open the browser from here, but there is also on the right-hand side toolbar, we have got the web inspector, okay? So when you click on this, this is the web inspector. You can see it's just like a browser, but it has got its own locators evaluator, and then it will show all the HTML elements below, right? So I can either go ahead and paste that URL here, okay, and then I can go to this particular URL. You can see the page here, and from here I can work it out. Or what I can also do is I can directly go here, and if I have got the URL anywhere in my code, right? So I can go to context actions. You can use the shortcut option plus enter, or you can right click and click on show context actions. Okay, once you do that, you will get this context actions, and the one we are interested in is open in web inspector. Okay, so wherever you write this particular URL in your code, you can go ahead and open this in web inspector. So it tells you that it opens a URL at caret in the web inspector. So it's the same thing what we did earlier, but it's another way of doing it. So once you have opened the URL or website in your web inspector, now we can select or we can inspect any particular element here, right? So for example, if I want to inspect this username, if I want to find the locator of this, in the locators evaluator, you have got the select element, okay? So this will select any particular element in the page which you have selected. So click here, and then you can go to username, okay? So once you do that, we can also expand this particular web inspector now. Now, as you can see, it has picked up one of the locators, okay, which seems to be best fit by the ID, but it is not necessary that you go ahead and right away use it. There are actually 10 variants or one match to this particular locator, okay? So there are different alternatives which you can use. Now, this is a CSS locator, as you can see here, but we can also change that. Okay, so on the right hand side, you will see this is the CSS locator sign, but I can also change it to XPath, right? Now you can see the locator has changed to XPath. And again, there are 16 variants of this particular locator. So it depends on which one you want to use. The ID is obviously the ID locator is the most unique one, and that's what it has picked. Okay, so we can choose our own locator here from all the variants which this ID is populating here. Now, this is how you can basically select any element on your web page and you can find the locator, right? The other things which you can do now, I can copy the locator and I can go ahead and use it in my script. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you want to generate the script from the inspector directly, there is an option. Okay, so if you click on this plus sign, it adds the element to the code. So if I go ahead and click this, okay, you will see that the framework was assumed as Fluent Linium. So it has selected a particular framework based on which it has added the code. Now, it's not necessary that I would be using that particular framework, okay? So you can see this is written in some other framework, but I want to use some other framework. So once you add this, you will get an option to even change the selected framework. So here you can see on this toolbar, there are different UI automation frameworks which are already present in this particular IDE. So the first one was selected by default, but then I can use the other frameworks as well, like Playwright, Selenite, and some other, but then I can also use Selenium, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to change this to Selenium and we can delete this and then we can add element to the code. Now the other thing or the option which is available is the add element to code by. So you can choose the by locator as well here. So it's not only ID, we can change it to name, to data attribute, to classes, CSS, and XPath. Okay, so as you can see, there are different options here. So if I want to change it to ID, I can also do that. So you can see now there are two sets of scripts here. First is using the XPath with ID, and the second is directly using ID. So whatever locator you want to use, whichever locator method which you want to use, so you can do all the changes right here while you are looking for those elements and you're trying to locate those elements. So you can use the best option which you think will work. You can also go ahead with the default one, which is suggested by the IDE, which should be the best way to locate these elements. So those are all the different options which are available in this web inspector. Okay, we can also clear the browser cookies right from here. We can enable pop-up windows. We can even show the mobile version right here, and we can even open the developer tools. Now, if I go ahead and minimize this, okay, and I do some cleanup right here. So maybe let's go ahead with this. We can import the class here. Okay, so once I import the find by and the web element class here, you can see this is what we got. So this is only for the username. Okay. Now, if you have worked with Selenium, you will know that this is the page factory method which we are using here. So either we can go with this particular way of writing our scripts, or we can just write our own script as well, right? So I already have a test framework which is the test ng. So what I can do is I can use the annotation at test, and then as you can see, it is also pre-populating the script. So this is where the ID comes into the picture. It is trying to recognize what you're trying to write, and you can just go ahead with the flow, right? So I just press tab, and then you see these are all the code completion features of this particular ID. Now I can just press tab again. We are trying to initialize the Chrome driver here, right? And then I go into the next one. Here you can see it is now going to the next line, which is to go to that particular web page, right? So we can always change this URL here. It is taking the default one, which is the local host. So I can change this. And then, well, I can try to write some code here to find the element. So we'll go ahead with by ID. So here we can go back to the web inspector, and we can again go ahead and check the username here. Okay. And as I said, you can use anything which you want to use. Let's go with the XPath for this time. And as you can see here, so this is the XPath, right? I can copy the locator here instead of adding it directly to my script if I want to write my own script, right? So let's try to use XPath here, right? And if I do this, you will see that it is already pre-populating what it thinks the XPath could be. But since I have copied it, I'll go ahead and paste it here, okay? And then I can do a send keys, and I can send the value here. So we can grab the value from here. So this is going to enter the username. That's complete the script. As you can see, the advanced auto completion feature of Aqua ID lets you write your scripts effortlessly and in minimum amount of time. Also, you can use the web inspector, which is pretty powerful. You don't need any other plugins or any other tools to basically inspect your elements. You can directly do it inside your ID when you are trying to write your script. Okay, so it's much easier, and I can complete this script in less than 2 minutes rather than when I compare it with using other IDs. It could take me a couple of minutes to do everything and then complete the script. So I'm going to leave it here. Go ahead and use the Aqua ID to find the other locators and complete this particular script. And then you can run the script to find out whether it is actually doing what it is supposed to do, right? So what I will do, I'm going to comment this out, and just to show you that this is working or not, I can go ahead and run this particular test here. Okay, so it will just go ahead and enter the username, nothing apart from that. But in the background, I'm going to complete the script before we go into the next session. So let's go ahead and run our first script now. As you can see, it launched the browser and it entered the username. Now, it is the usual way of how we develop any Selenium JavaScript, but using this IDE, which is Aqua, our efforts are being reduced drastically when you take into consideration that we have to write scripts for complex web applications, which have got lots and lots of elements. And then if you don't know something in a particular framework, like any particular script, then the IDE is going to autocomplete that for you. So two powerful features. One is the web inspector, and the other is the auto completion feature, which will help you to build your Selenium scripts in no time.